Hello everyone. Today I have an amazing story for you. It's not just great for listening practice, but also deeply inspiring. This story is called Nothing is Free, and it shows how hard work and determination can truly change lives. The story begins with a young man named Leo. He was 20 years old and lived in a small, quiet town surrounded by mountains. Leo had big dreams. He wanted to own a chain of restaurants and become a successful entrepreneur. But life was far from easy for him. Leo's family was struggling to make ends meet. His father, Mark, worked as a mechanic, and his mother, Claire, cleaned houses. They worked hard, but money was always tight. Leo's younger sister, Sophie, was just 10 years old, and she looked up to him as her hero. One cold evening, Leo sat outside his small house, gazing at the stars. He whispered to himself, "I want to give my family a better life. But how can I start when we barely have enough to survive?" The next day, Leo shared his dreams with his father. Mark sighed and said, "Leo, dreams aren't free. If you want something, you have to fight for it. Start with what you have, even if it's small." Those words stuck with Leo. That evening, an idea struck him. In his town, people loved fresh bread, but the nearest bakery was far away. He decided to start selling fresh bread locally. But there was a problem. Leo didn't have any money to buy the bread. Undeterred, he walked miles to meet the bakery owner, Mr. Anderson, a grumpy old man who rarely trusted anyone. With confidence, Leo said, "Mr. Anderson, I want to sell your bread in my town, but I don't have the money to buy it up front. Can you trust me for 1 week? I'll sell the bread, return your money, and keep a small profit." Mr. Anderson raised an eyebrow and asked, "Why should I trust you, young man?" Leo replied firmly, "Because I'm determined, and I'll work hard to prove myself." After a long pause, Mr. Anderson said, "All right, I'll give you bread for 1 week, but if you fail to pay me back, don't come here again." Leo was thrilled. Early the next morning, he carried the bread back to his town and set up a small stand near the park. He greeted every passerby with energy and a smile, saying, "Fresh bread, warm and delicious." At first, people were hesitant. They didn't know if the bread was any good, but Leo offered free samples, and soon he had his first customer. By the end of the day, he sold all the bread and made a small profit. That evening, he returned to Mr. Anderson and paid him back. The old man nodded and said, "You kept your word. Come back tomorrow." From then on, Leo worked tirelessly. He woke up at 4 a.m., walked to the bakery, carried the bread back to town, and sold it with passion. After 2 months, he saved enough money to buy a small cart. With it, he could transport more bread and serve more customers. One day, a customer said, "Leo, why don't you bake your own bread? You're great at selling, but if you bake, you'll make more profit." The idea excited Leo, but it also scared him. He had never baked anything in his life. This was a turning point for him. He realized, nothing is free, not success, not knowledge, not growth. If I want to succeed, I must take risks and learn. Determined, Leo decided to ask Mr. Anderson for help. The next morning, after paying him, Leo said, "Mr. Anderson, can you teach me how to bake?" The old man frowned. "Why should I teach you? If you bake your own bread, you won't buy from me anymore. That's bad for my business." Leo replied, "You're right, but I'll never forget the man who gave me my first chance. If I succeed, I'll find ways to help your bakery too." Mr. Anderson thought for a moment and said, "Fine. But baking isn't easy. It takes time, patience, and hard work. If you're ready for that, I'll teach you." The lessons began early the next morning. Leo arrived at the bakery at 3 a.m., long before sunrise. Mr. Anderson showed him how to mix flour, knead dough, and bake it to perfection. At first, Leo struggled. His hands ached from kneading, and his bread was either too hard or too soft. One day, after ruining another batch of bread, Leo sat down, feeling defeated. He said to himself, "Maybe I'm not good enough for this. Maybe I should just give up." But then he remembered his father's words, "Dreams are not free." Leo realized that every mistake was teaching him something new. Giving up wasn't an option. The next day, Leo returned to the bakery with even more determination. He practiced each step carefully. Slowly, his bread started to improve. After 2 weeks, Mr. Anderson handed him a loaf and said, "This is perfect, Leo. You're ready." Leo was overjoyed. He rented a small oven and began baking bread at home. His family was amazed by his hard work. Sophie, his little sister, helped him pack the bread, and his mother made tea for him as he worked late into the night. Soon, Leo wasn't just selling bread. He started making cookies and pastries too. The people in town loved his products. They said, "Leo's bread tastes better than anything we've had before." But success wasn't easy. One day, a new bakery opened in town. It was run by a young man named Eric. Eric's shop was big and fancy, with colorful signs and decorations. People were curious and started buying from him instead. Leo noticed his sales dropping. He felt scared. "What if I lose everything I've worked so hard for?" he thought. Instead of panicking, Leo decided to improve. He talked to his customers and asked, "What do you like about Eric's bakery? What can I do better?" Some said, "Eric's shop looks clean and pretty." Others said, "His cakes have beautiful designs." Leo realized he needed to grow, not just as a baker, but as a businessman. Using his savings, Leo painted his cart, added bright decorations, and started offering free samples of his new pastries. He even learned how to decorate cakes by watching videos at the library. Slowly, customers began coming back. One evening, an elderly woman came to Leo and said, "I've seen many young men give up when times get hard, but you didn't. That's why we trust you." Her words filled Leo with pride. Months passed and Leo's business grew. He saved enough money to rent a small shop. It wasn't as big as Eric's, but it was warm and welcoming. He named it Leo's Fresh Bakes. Every morning, Leo woke up before sunrise, baked fresh bread, and opened his shop with a smile. His parents and sister helped him. Sophie, now 11, loved talking to customers, and Claire managed the accounts. But Leo knew this was just the beginning. He wanted to reach more people, make his family proud, and prove to himself that anything is possible with hard work. Leo's Fresh Bakes became the heart of the town. People loved his fresh bread, cakes, and pastries. Leo's business was growing, and his family was proud of him. But life wasn't done testing him. One stormy night, as Leo was closing his shop, he noticed smoke coming from inside. He rushed in and saw a small fire near the oven. Acting quickly, he grabbed water and managed to stop the flames, but much of his equipment was ruined. The next morning, when the townspeople heard about the fire, many came to check on him. Some said, "Oh no, what will Leo do now?" Others whispered, "Maybe this is the end for him." Leo felt heartbroken, but not defeated. Standing outside his bakery, he said, "This is just another challenge. I've faced struggles before, and I'll face this too. I won't give up." He took a deep breath and began making a plan. When he calculated his savings, he realized it wasn't enough to replace all the damaged equipment. For a moment, fear crept in. But then Leo remembered his journey, how he started with nothing but a dream and hard work. Instead of sitting and worrying, Leo decided to ask for help. He approached Mr. Anderson, his retired mentor, and said, "Sir, I need advice. What would you do if you were me?" Mr. Anderson smiled and said, "Leo, you already know the answer. You've proven that nothing is free. Work harder, believe in yourself, and others will believe in you too." Inspired, Leo made the decision to rebuild. He didn't wait for someone to rescue him. Instead, he started baking at home again, using the little equipment he had left. He told his customers, "I won't let you down. I'll keep serving you, even if it's just a small amount for now." The townspeople admired his courage. Many stepped in to help. Some donated ingredients, others gave small amounts of money, and a few offered their time to clean and repair the bakery. Leo realized something important. When you work hard and refuse to give up, people notice. They want to help someone who helps themselves. After months of effort, Leo reopened his bakery. It was better than ever. He painted the walls, added new decorations, and introduced new items like cupcakes and muffins. His customers were thrilled. On the day of the grand reopening, the town's mayor attended and said, "Leo, you are a true inspiration. You've shown us all that with determination, anything is possible." Leo stood before the crowd and said, "I want to thank each one of you. You've taught me an important lesson. Nothing in life is free, not success, not respect, not love. Everything must be earned with hard work, patience, and persistence. Never let failure stop you. Every challenge is just a step toward something greater." Leo's story teaches us 4 powerful lessons. 1. Dreams are not free. They require hard work and sacrifice. 2. Failure is not the end. It's a chance to learn and grow stronger. 3. Help yourself first. When people see your effort, they'll support you. 4. Never give up. The darkest moments are often just before success. Leo didn't just build a bakery. He built a life full of purpose, respect, and pride. And so can you. Whatever your dream is, don't stop chasing it. Remember, nothing is free, but everything is possible.